So if anybody have questions for any of us up here, raise a hand, or we can move. Oh, you want me to point?
Yeah.
Yeah, the gentleman right next to you there.
All right, this is on safety management systems. Several of you talked about it on a couple slides. John, you used the term aggressive industry implementation. I'm just wondering, you know, PSM was put in '92 after a couple large accidents in the downstream industry. SEMS was put in after the Macondo incident. These new regulations are coming in. What are you looking at for aggressively implementing it?
Well, we have an entire program and structure that we've built up. SMS, you know, starting off as an acronym, and it's kind of jargony and it's kind of policy-wise, but it really is a tool that you mentioned that has benefited not only energy, but also the aviation industry, nuclear power, chemical folks. Responsible care is an example of that. Even hospitals we've heard of. How do the patient doctor-to-doctor handoff. So how you holistically look at your safety programs across different companies. And we have companies with a whole range of experiences. Some have very established, sophisticated management systems, and they're just going to crosswalk to our new framework. Some have different management systems, but they're not organized into one comprehensive program. Some are just getting off the ground. They don't have any of this. So while your PSM might be in a company that has refining, maybe if they're just a pipeline, they don't have that experience. And this isn't just by size. Folks of all sizes are in all of these situations. So coming up with a program that we can educate folks, we can show them how this will benefit them, we can help them apply these philosophical concepts down to their everyday work. When they go in, they're an engineer and they go turn on their computer and they do what they're going to do, or they go out to the field to the construction site, showing them how this will benefit their everyday jobs. And so that's implementation to gain, provide them the tools. If you're going to do a gap analysis, here's our program, here's yours, how do they compare? And then also checking. It's not good enough just to put it out. This is about continuous improvement. So how do we check on them? How do we assess? The standard itself calls for auditing. How do we evaluate progress? And then ultimately, how do we show performance improvement? How do we show that things actually got safer because we did all of this? What measures should we use? What are meaningful ways to measure things are safer because of this program? So all of those things together are part of our liquids industry program. Certainly INGA and AGA have their programs as well, and so we're all trying to row in the same direction. Happy to provide more information. There's a session tomorrow on what industry wants. What time is it? Sean Lyon will be presenting more on this. Can you help me out, Carl? Tomorrow at what, 9:30 or something like this?
Yep, 9:30 in the room across the hall.
So 9:30 tomorrow morning. If you'd like to hear more information on SMS, Sean Lyon, VP with Marathon Pipeline, will present on this topic.
That's right. Time for.
Thanks, Rebecca. Thank you, Carl. John, happy birthday. This is a question about the chart that you showed on the liquids safety record. Could you let us know what your source is, where that chart was derived from?
She's walking out the room right now.
Aha! I actually had a feeling that I was hoping that might be the case.
No, we do. You know, we have, obviously that's a joke, but we do want to,
Gotcha.
So trust is important. And the information that we have used in these is PHMSA's information. They, by regulation, require us to report that, and that's a good thing. And it makes it available. And so we've pulled that data, and it's available for everyone. And that's one way that we try and be transparent about where we're succeeding and where we need to improve, is analyzing, crunching this data, and helping it point us to where we can do most to improve safety.
So my question then is, perhaps you can help clear this up. I had hoped that was where your data came from, and that's a chart that my organization, Pipeline Safety Coalition, happens to have in its databases to use on a regular basis. And I note that I believe that the last part of your chart coincides with the PHMSA data. And if I look at that chart and actually, as you said, look at that last little segment of the chart, there has been a steady increase in incidences since 2010, with the exception of 2013. From 2010 to the present data, there's been a significant increase. And so the people that we deal with, the landowners that we deal with, see that as frankly not being transparent. They see that as being a manipulation of the data, and so it begets a lack of trust from the landowners in areas where I know the Pipeline Safety Trust and Pipeline Safety Coalition are always trying to instill trust. But as the Pipeline Safety Trust says, trust but verify. And people are doing that now. They're going to the website. They're relying heavily on PHMSA data. And so I can't in all good faith go back to landowners and say, well, yes, things are getting better, 52% better, when the data on the PHMSA website is actually saying quite the opposite. So how do we reconcile that?
Well, that next page, you talked about the blue graph, and so the next page says, all right, let's break that down. We see it may have come down greatly in the early years of the integrity management program, and now it's been flat and maybe up, and what's the reason for that? So we see small incidents were going up a certain percentage, medium incidents are down modestly, and large incidents in the last 5 years are down more. And so how do we attack each of these different programs or each of these different problems? What are the ways, what are the best strategies for smaller incidents if they're in facilities, large incidents if they have certain types of causes? That's really the tool, the purpose that we use that data for to guide our safety improvement program so that we're spending our money on the right solutions, and because different solutions address different problems. So we want to make sure we're aligned to going after what is best to protect the public and the environment with the large spills, but then also with our goal of zero incidents, what do we need to do to address the smaller spills inside facilities?
And I believe that the data that you referred to is high consequence area data.
Yes, yes. So, and we frankly would value that the highest. What is the most important thing to us is preventing spills in the areas that have the highest consequence, either to the public or the environment. Now, we need to be having programs for all spills everywhere, but certainly for us, the highest value is to attack what has the highest consequence on environmental resources and centers of urban concentration.
I think Alan has a comment too.
I was just going to add, Linda, we've also noticed that clearly showing up in our charts, and certainly the fact that just because it's on a facility into containment, there has been an uptick in those types of incidents doesn't really make it okay. We are looking to address those types of incidents regardless of where they are. Maybe, things need to change on how station piping is designed to eliminate dead legs, for instance, where it's very difficult to assess pipe and can be a challenge for internal corrosion. So we are aware of that and are taking action to address it.
All right, I think we are out of time. I just wanted to say that's one of the reasons that we are really, it's one of the reasons the liquid indicators aren't up yet. We're still having some of those internal discussions. It was famous, I think John's boss from AOPL showed up at congressional hearing at some point in the last couple of years. I lose track of reauthorization, and I did, and he showed a graph showing everything going down and getting better, and I showed it a graph, everything going up and getting worse. And it was all pulled exactly from PHMSA data, and they were all totally accurate graphs. So it really depends how you pull the data, and that's why we're having these discussions amongst all the stakeholders of what tells the real story.